My name is
Salim.
My name is
Salim.
My name is
Salim.
My name is
Salim.
And I am the next new president of Makerere. Gallant Makererians,
Yes.
You men and women of vigor,
Yes.
of valor,
Yes.
of valor,
Yes.
of cognizance,
Yes.
of kokome,
Yes.
great intelligentsia,
Yes.
this is alma mater,
Yes.
Makerere University,
Yes.
heart and pride,
Yes.
the education system
Yes.
in Africa,
Yes.
Asia,
Yes.
and some parts of Europe.
Yes.
It is a beautiful evening.
Yes.
Judging by the euphoria,
Yes.
the exuberance on all your faces,
Yes.
you make my heart go hempere tempere. Not only do you make my heart go hempere tempere, you also make my cheeks go tingly and tingly. This evening,
Yes.
I am here to request for your votes and support.
Yes.
I also request
Yes.
that you reach out
Yes.
to your boyfriend,
Yes.
your girlfriend,
Yes.
your classmates,
Yes.
schoolmates,
Yes.
college mates,
Yes.
each and every single Makererian that you can,
Yes.
on my behalf,
Yes.
and tell them
Yes.
that the right man for give presidency
Yes.
is Papa Were Salim. I will not tire
Yes.
when it comes to reminding you
Yes.
that the thing goes gallant Makererians,
Yes.
You who are most revered,
Yes.
You who are not easily fascinated,
Yes.
You who do not kowtow and find the smallest of ideas, You with whom I will not ajado but gambe to victory. I just said that the thing goes
Oh, Makerere, Makerere. All right, so the man who delivered that speech, which many people think is what eventually, aided him to make it to become guild president of Makerere University, is here. Papa Were Salim, the guild president of Makerere. Good morning.
Morning, Joel.
How are you?
I'm very fine. How are you doing?
I am all right. So is it true that that speech is what propelled you eventually?
Exactly. That and the campaign song, they did tremendous work in making sure that we secure the victory. But the speech, wonderful and traveled miles.
So how did you come up with that? Some of those words don't even sound like they're English words.
They are all English words. But you see, the best things are those that we never planned for. Because we didn't at any one time plan that this would be one of the strategies that we would use during the campaigns, but just came along the way. That was actually due after the Micho rally when we had no band and we had to use our vocals to make sure that we propel our voices for everyone around to listen. It was recorded at Dreamworld Hostel. Unfortunately, I've even never found out who recorded that audio, because I also woke up in the morning and I'm like, oh, I'm the one who said all this.
Okay, you're the one who said all this, and you are the one, at least according to administration, that led to the chaos that happened in Makerere on Monday, Tuesday. You notice I qualified according to the administration.
Yes.
Anyway, let's talk about what happened this week. There was that strike which you called for. You called it Bloody Monday, and it spilled over into Tuesday. I know that as of yesterday you met with the Vice Chancellor and you agreed on a couple of things. We'll talk about that. But critically, what are those issues that you were raising, issues of concern?
Oh yes, but just to categorically make it clear, university has leadership, and I did not, as an individual, call for the peaceful demonstration that we have had for Monday and Tuesday. We called for a consultative meeting as leaders in the university and agreed that it was inevitable. We rose on 14 issues, and the 14 issues were to do with the recommendations.
About the critical ones.
Yes, recommendations made by the Visitation Committee, because we found some of these recommendations not favorable at all. So we wanted to know what are those issues that the university management has forwarded, what contribution has it made to the white paper that is going to be, the Minister of Education is coming up. We have the issue of abolishing of evening lectures, end of semester examinations, and then the government sponsorships. But I'm glad we achieved and all those stayed. Also, other critical issue was about the meals in the halls of residence. They wanted to remove the meals in the halls of residence and replace them with just 4,500, but we are glad that when they presented this issue to the Parliamentary Committee on Education, they advised them that we maintain the status quo as they revise the policy, and perhaps the minimum would be only 4,500. But the other issue also was about tuition increment. It is unfortunate that without any consultation and justification, the university management wanted to increase tuition on a few of the courses, around 10 of them, and we came up to say, no, this cannot be an issue. This cannot be, the university cannot be run like that, that every morning a person can wake up and come up with these policies. Basically, those are the issues that were most burning, and they were addressed. Out of the 14, those were
the very critical ones.
Yes.
One of those that you have raised, I thought got addressed earlier on. The Vice-Chancellor did come out to say that they were not planning to abolish evening classes per se, that they wanted to decentralize them to college level. So was that not clarified? Some
of the issues that we rose also still in the meeting was the means of communication the university management is using, and the Vice-Chancellor himself, that we need to bridge this gap between the students and the management. For as long as we do not get this information firsthand, or we are not explained to, we shall always come up because of these misunderstandings. But the Vice-Chancellor also was quoted on very many media platforms as having said that they are abolishing the evening lectures, end of semester examinations, and government sponsorships. But good enough, we got the explanations. The evening lectures are staying, end of semester exams are staying, and government sponsorships are staying too.
So you had a meeting with the Vice-Chancellor yesterday and a couple of other members of the administration. What
Yes.
was agreed on?
All the 14 issues were addressed. We had a benchmark that some of these issues can be addressed immediately. Some of the issues we shall require to give them time will be addressed in the long run. The issues that will be addressed in the long run, we formed the committee of 5 as a house to make sure that they use this document, the recommendations the university management gave us, they scrutinize it, they see in which time frames these issues can be addressed. All the issues had been addressed well, but we had a prolonged discussion when it came to the tuition increment. We did not agree on that one, and that one we wanted it revoked immediately or suspended, at least pending further consultations. The management did not want to commit it itself, so we had no choice but to excuse them and told them to go and consult from the chairman council, just because they could not. I'm a member of council, but they could not call for an emergency council meeting. Then perhaps we would not raise quorum, because the house had given the management an ultimatum of 1 hour to make sure that the issues, the tuition issue is...
By house you mean those GRCs?
Yes, because the meeting was limited to the GRCs, but other members, the students, were in the gallery. So good enough, when the Vice-Chancellor exited and gave the chairman council a call, he advised that the policy is suspended, and those courses that had been advertised with the tuition increment are re-advertised using the old tuition system.
Salim, you exude a lot of confidence that all these issues that you raised were sorted, but it appears to me that this is only temporary. I'm at Makerere doing my second degree, and I know that many times this happens. It's like a painkiller. There are sticky issues, students protest, and then they suspend, only temporarily. So when you exude confidence and say all these things have been sorted, have they?
You see, under my administration, one of the things, previously we have been having students coming up for 1 or 2 issues, but we said no. Even if it is a small issue, we are going to come up on this issue, and that is why we rose up on 14 reasons. And I cannot confidently affirm that all the issues that we rose and they gave us the recommendations of what they are going to do are going to be addressed. Now, like the issue of Wi-Fi. The issue of Wi-Fi, they are counting on grants from ASIDA. What if the grants...
Part of the reasons the strike was called for was because there is no Wi-Fi?
Makerere University is a research-based institution. Surely, if they do not have, if we have poor internet connectivity and we cannot upload our work, we have to move in the night. We
How
have
are the things that Salim going
meet.
to be availed? If the university will say, look, let's increase tuition a little bit, avail some of these things, So you want the services, but then you don't want to pay for them.
No one is saying that the tuition should not be increased. The issue is the tuition increment justifiable? Because we as the students at the end of the day meet our own end of the bargain and pay the tuition, even through a hassle. But there's no quality assurance. Now, like the recommendation they were making that they scrap off the end of semester examinations and replace them with continuous assessment. This means on our side we are mandated to attend the lectures. But a lecturer can chop the whole semester and only comes for 1 hour to give a continuous assessment test, and he will use that. There is no quality assurance in the university, and that office needs to be reawakened. If there is justification, then we shall have no problem.
Let's talk a bit more about this money thing. And of course, I come from a biased position because I am a student. I'm paying tuition. I wish I was paying half what I'm paying, but I'm going to play devil's advocate for a while because some of these questions have got to be asked. You know. Do Makerere students pay enough? When you look at the other universities around that are availing not even as quality education as we attain at Makerere, you are wowed at how much less we do pay. Which course do you do again?
I'm doing veterinary medicine.
Veterinary medicine. How much do you pay? Tuition?
It's about 1.6.
1.6.
Tuition only without functional fees.
And with functional fees?
It comes to 2 point something.
That's every semester?
Yes.
Okay, so looking at the course that you do, the detail involved, the practicals, etc., and now that's you. There are some courses which pay about a third of that.
Yes.
There are courses which pay 690 or they're about 700.
Yes.
So question that lingers in the minds of many, do Makerere, and look, even 100,000 shillings is plenty of money for some parents. If you look at the GDP per capita of this good country, you know, many of our people are poor, and yet they want to send their students, their children, to good schools and to good institutions, institutions of learning like Makerere. So any amount of money is much, yeah? But let's try and juxtapose it against the service that is being availed. Do you feel students are paying enough?
Makerere University is not a private institution that whatever money is supposed to run it is entirely supposed to come from the students. Makerere University is a public institution, meaning that the government must subsidize or must at least contribute financially when it comes to the running of the university. But from the grievances I hear from here and there during the strikes, especially those that are attributed to finances, they still point at government not doing its role when it comes to remunerating the monies that they are supposed to be giving the university. So the university keeps struggling on this little money they are collecting from tuition. So they see a tuition increment as the only solution. If Makerere University was a public institution and they were entirely relying on the students' tuition, it would be justifiable. But is government also meeting its own end of the bargain by at least providing what they promised to the public institutions in this country?
I like what happened yesterday, that you folks got to sit down with the administration and talk. And then there's a way forward that is come up with. I interviewed the spokesperson the day before yesterday. And I'll ask her the same question I'll ask you. Why is it always a tall order? Why is it difficult for the administration and the student leaders to sit and talk? Because, you know, at the end of the day, it's not necessary that there gets to be a protest, you know, vandalizing of property, disruption of lectures, and so on. Because the administration will say, we keep trying to reach out to the student leaders. They don't want to talk. They just want to protest. You, the student leaders, will say, we keep inviting these folks in administration to come and we have a discussion, and they are adamant they don't want to come. So everybody is blaming the other, and at the end of the day, we have a stalemate which affects everybody. Why is it difficult for you guys to sit and talk like you did yesterday, amicably, and then you get to resolve certain issues temporarily or otherwise, but that it's done civilly?
One, I am glad that at the end of the day, we suspended, we put the peaceful demonstration that we own on a halt to provide a good environment for us to have dialogue, and at the end of the day, dialogue paid off. Perhaps this dialogue would have happened earlier on and would have avoided the situation we put ourselves in. Makerere University is not run by only one person or only a section of stakeholders. Makerere University has very many stakeholders who all must be involved in the decision making of the university. But for as long as a section of stakeholders thinks that they are going to eliminate others and make decisions on their behalf, the students being the biggest stakeholders, you see, they have their defense that the students are represented in council by the guild president and the vice guild president. Yes, we represent the students in council, but when we sit sit in council and council comes up with a proposal on a proposed policy, we are not just being representatives does not mean that we are going to give our say there and then. We have to come back to the students, call for these consultative meetings with all the leaders so that we come back to council with a stand of the students. But sometimes the administration thinks that they are going to impose all these issues on us. At times I think that they are bringing the frustration from government not meeting. It is on end of the bargain to the students. Makerere University, all stakeholders should be involved in the way the university runs. But just to highlight, it is not my modus operandi that all the students of Makerere, we do not also like these issues because they have affected us. Losing 2 days, 3 days, this is a week, the other week is leading to examinations. This was for tests, the other one for reading for examinations. So it affects all of us. We go into these issues as a last resort after trying out to reach to the responsible officers, and if they're not forthcoming, surely then we must push so that they are forthcoming and call for these meetings. Because the management is defending it itself that when I invited them for the consultative meeting, they replied back and told me, the Vice Chancellor replied back and told me he's not going to be able to attend. Is he the only member of management? He's not, so he could not have delegated the deputy.
But administration was actually saying that you people were saying you only want to meet the VC and not anybody else.
No.
That's what the spokesperson told me.
So yesterday we met only the Vice Chancellor, we met the entire management. And all these issues cannot be addressed by one person. The entire management was there. So the Vice Chancellor put us in a situation of he's the one running the university and the other people cannot come and talk on his behalf and address these issues. In his response that he gave me, he simply conveyed his apologies of not being able to attend the meeting. If indeed he had the intentions of speaking to the students and curbing the situation, he would have proposed that let us meet on such and such a date when I'll be back. But that communication came on Saturday actually, after we had passed our resolutions.
So if the communication came, if you're saying, based on the communication that a meeting would be held on a particular day, then there would be no strike.
Yes.
So the communication came Saturday. Why then did you go ahead with the strike on Monday?
We do not work retrospectively. We had already come up with a stand.
Is it like a one-way, Salim? Because you see, if there's a mitigating factor, and the mitigating factor according to you is that there is proper communication from the VC that look, we shall sit and talk on this day. So that communication did not come the other week. It came on Saturday. The strike was for Monday. So was that not enough time to say, guys, the mitigating factors come in place. We have been assured of a meeting. Let's call off the strike as we wait for this meeting.
My only prayer is that in the near future, perhaps if it is dialogue, then we give dialogue first option, and we do not have these issues of, just like I stated it in the meeting, that we should not go into these issues of the blame games of this one should have done this, this one should have done this. We agreed that we are beginning off a new chapter where the university management is going to run the university in consultation with all stakeholders, especially the students being the biggest stakeholders.
Salim, you talked about these being peaceful protests, but are they? Because you see, Chapter 4 of our Constitution does guarantee our right to protest.
Yes.
You know, I for one believe in protesting peacefully.
Yes.
If one is aggrieved and they want to make a statement, the Constitution does guarantee that. I know there's this thing called Public Management Order Management Act. It has its issues, but ideally, people should have that right, whether it be students and that kind of thing. But you see, that should be for peaceful protests. Each time there's a protest at the university, it turns into something else altogether. Property is vandalized. People who are driving through the university, you know, their cars are vandalized, windscreens broken, window panes, and so on. Is that called for? Can it not happen that you will put up a protest and it is peaceful and the point is made, and there is no collateral damage, you know, because sometimes actually the people that operate around Wande gear, and they get affected too, unnecessarily so.
First and foremost, I would like to condemn in the highest terms possible the excessive force used by the police. The police brutality exhibited in Makerere University during these past 2 days has been way overboard. Personally, I was arrested on the first day, and the way I was arrested, I was strangled, I was tear gassed, I was in a cloud of tear gas to the extent that even the officers who arrested me could not resist crying. I do not know whether they were joining us in the morning or they were crying because of the tear gas. An officer is pulling my tie this way. I had a colleague called our bed Derek. He was beaten. The man collapsed. He was carried away. You see, the Vice Chancellor said that what we want to curb in the university is hooliganism. But when it comes to students putting out their grievances, it is going to be accepted. In these
Hooliganism
2
is going to
days-
be accepted?
No. When it comes to student peaceful demonstration, just like you've said that it is catered for in the Constitution, these the 2 past days, at least we have not had any car vandalized. We have not had the students leaving the university to go to Wandegea, to go to Chikoni. We have not had any of the university property vandalized and all those issues. We began, now like on Monday, we began very peacefully. We were simply marching to main building. Students wanted to accompany their guild president to main building so that we can see how we can settle these issues amicably. The whole of main building was cordoned off. Even just approaching main building was a tug of war. We said, okay, can we go to Freedom Square so that I can address the students at once? They refused to give us that permission. And when they see students gathering peacefully, even putting up their hands, sometimes saying we want peace, they fire tear gas. And those are the running battles. I think we should differentiate between running battles do not mean that the strike has the peaceful demonstration has now gone out of hand. No, when police fires tear gas, the students have to run away because they cannot stand there just simply because it is a peaceful demonstration. They should walk away.
But did you call for a peaceful demonstration?
Yes.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
I want to just remind you of something. There's a clip that of your audio. For some reason, people are always recording you. You have become that popular, and maybe you need to be very careful what you say always. There's this clip. Let's just take a listen to this.
We are tired of standing up for Makererians who don't want to stand up for them own self. Tomorrow, get a stick. Gain everyone. Don't leave me.
So there you are. That was you addressing students of Micho. And you are telling them, tomorrow, get sticks, go out and clobber people. Did that sound like you calling them to go out and peacefully demonstrate?
You see, perhaps sometimes we go overboard because of the struggles that we are in and the genuity of the causes that we are on. But I am glad it was only used in figurative speech and none of the students
what do you mean
was
figurative
caned.
speech? Because you see, when you're addressing students and you tell them tomorrow, get sticks, you know, that sounds literal. Do you not admit that that was wrong, Salim?
I do not know whether you got all the clips and you played it in half. I do not know whether you have the other clips where we tell the students to move peacefully and join us and do all those things.
So then you're sending out double messages because you see, when you tell students, get sticks tomorrow, go beat people, that's very literal. You know, so if again tomorrow you tell them something else, it's very confusing. And for me, like I did say, peaceful protests are guaranteed by the Constitution and they are okay. And you should call for them when you feel the need to. But you see, when you gather students and you're telling them tomorrow get sticks, go and beat people, that is wrong.
But I am glad that at least that now we did not go to those extremes and none of the students was beaten or clobbered by a fellow student, but instead all the students who sustained injuries were attributed to the police.
But would you not admit that that was wrong?
Yes, I will. Leaders to admit when they make a mistake, yes, that was wrong and I admit. I apologize for those the statements did not go well with.
I'm glad you did, because that's very important. You know, many times these are politicians, they make statements at rallies, different places, and we keep them as the media, and they keep denying, even when you play it before them, and they're thinking, wait a minute, you see, as a leader, you're a human being.
Yes,
Salim.
we should be glad that we have a new breed of leadership coming up.
As a leader, being a human being, human beings make mistakes, and I'm glad you admit this was a mistake, and when you make a mistake, you apologize for the mistake, and hopefully you do better.
Yes, and the kind of new leadership that is coming up is the one of my kind, where we make a mistake and we admit and apologize and look moving forward.
So if I had not accorded you this opportunity to apologize, not just to the country that has been watching and to your students too, would you have eventually?
Is the show ending? The show is still going on.
No, I mean away from here.
I have not released any statement yet in response to this. Yes, I'm going to release a formal communique encompassing all that happened. So perhaps we should also be waiting for that. Okay,
I'm glad you put it that way. Let's talk a bit about party politics at the university.
Yes.
You stood on the FDC ticket?
No, I did not stand on the FDC ticket. I was an independent candidate, but I am FDC leaning. FDC is my party.
So why did you not stand? Did you fail in the primaries?
No, I did not participate in the primaries.
Why didn't you?
Due to a few issues here and there, I was blocked from running in the primaries.
What do you mean a few issues here and there?
They are best known to those who are conducting the primaries because I submitted in all the documents that necessitated me to run in the primaries, but they said, look, we have vetted and we'll not see you eligible to carry our flag in the forthcoming elections. And I said, okay, if a section of people have decided that I cannot be guild president, let us take the case to gallant Makerelians and let them decide.
Okay, so you say you're still a member of the party, you used their colors and you're clad in them this morning. But you see, the question of political parties at the university, it's because, you know, every party gets to be represented, at least they try and push their independence and so on. Some people feel this is problematic. They will say that we should not inoculate in these young people this divisive party politics. We should let them, you know, look for leaders that they believe are competent enough based on merit, as opposed to political party, you know, infiltration, and political parties will bring their big wigs and money and all these different things. That's one school of thought. There's the other school of thought that says, but wait a minute, many Makerere University leaders eventually get to the national stage and they become leaders. You know, I can name a plethora of them.
Yes.
You know, Gerald Karuhanga, former guild president, is an MP now. Anna Adeke, former guild president, is an MP. Norbert Mao has been MP. Anyway, the list is endless, yeah? And so they feel it actually propels them to that level that they should begin to learn and grasp these things. Which school of thought do you subscribe to of the two?
I go with the second one. You see, we cannot accept, university has mature students, we cannot accept them to participate in partisan and national politics outside the university, and then when it comes to this institution of learning, they are being given restrictions. They do not get chance to, these political parties mold leaders, they mold us into what we are going to become in the future, and if we begin slowly, then at least, also these political parties in the universities, they have their youth wings. This is an opportunity for them to strengthen their youth wings. So I don't see any reason as to why students who are in university should be restricted when it comes to practicing partisan politics in the university. I've heard of a few universities here in Uganda where partisan politics is banned, and during campaigns, if you even just go putting party colors on your poster, you're there and then expelled from the race. But I go with the second school of thought. Students should be given their liberty. The only thing perhaps we should say is that we prevent external influence when it comes to politics.
What's external influence in this case?
Just like during our campaigns. Since a candidate has come on the NRM ticket, they will want to bring Museveni on the final rally so that he can campaign for them. Such things, that is the kind of external influence we should avoid.
But Salim, you want to have your cake and eat it. You say you are okay with party politics, you know, getting therein, but then you
restrictions. With restrictions.
Because how then do you curtail the restrictions? Because you see, the way party politics operates nationally, when there's a by-election, for example, each candidate, you know, that's come on a different party card, the party gets to support them. They will support them either financially, they will support them with people going to campaign for them and that kind of thing. And so if you say that you want party politics rather to be, you know, a part of the university, then you cannot say you want to have your cake and eat at the same time. You can't say party politics is okay, but then we cannot have those big wigs coming to campaign. So
student politics is not national politics. If it comes to support from the party can be financial, can be such, but we cannot have that external influence of them personally coming in the university to influence the thinking of the students and helping them make decisions. Let them leave the students to play our politics. I record my audio, I release it.
But I thought that by already allowing you or giving you the opportunity to run on their flag, they are already sending a message to students. So when you say they should not in any way cause students to think a certain way, I don't see how that works. When on the one hand you say it's okay for parties to sponsor candidates and support them.
Society must have restrictions. A party has ideologies. We sell the ideology. The ideology is not sold by individuals. An individual cannot represent the ideology of a party. So we cannot say that just because a certain individual has been barred from coming to the university, the students will not comprehend that we in the DP, we in the FDC, this is how we operate. Society must have restrictions.
Okay, what's your mandate as guild president?
As guild president, at the end of my tenure, I want to say that the relevance of the students' guild is reinstated.
No, you're talking about your legacy. We'll get to that. Your legacy is different from your mandate. There's a constitution for the guild. So that is what adumbrates what your mandate is. We'll talk about what your plans are and your legacy, but what's the mandate of the guild president?
The mandate of the Guild President is to make sure that, one, the student's voice is never, or the student's interests are never adulterated at any one point. It is absurd if issues affecting the students directly are being discussed and you as a Guild President cannot have an input. It is very sad.
Okay, so what are your plans? You're going to be Guild President for, is it a
9
year
months,
or less?
9 months, yes.
What are your plans for the
At
9
the end
months?
of my 9-month tenure, in Makerere University, not just Makerere University, by the way, this is a global issue when it comes to sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is a global issue, but I do not like the way people are shy to talk about it in attribution to Makerere University because they think they are spoiling the image of the university. If we cannot talk loud about these issues, then we cannot combat them. If at the end of the tenure we can at least lay a stepping stone in combating this vice in the university and also empowering the girl child, then we would have done something.
Break that down. What exactly are you going to do? When you say you're going to add a stepping stone?
The sexual harassment policy of Makerere University is, when we analyze it, it is lacking in a few issues, and at least I am glad that Dr. Tamale from the School of Law has taken it up, and by the end of this month, they will be coming up with a more comprehensive sexual harassment policy. But that is not enough. I told the Vice Chancellor that irrespective of how many people we arrest in line with sexual harassment, it is not going to curb it's not going to curb the vice. We need to sensitize the students about this policy. The students must know what the sexual harassment policy is all about. If you're sexually harassed, where do you report? We have a gender mainstreaming office. And yesterday we also suggested that at Makerere University Police Station, there is introduced a special desk to handle issues of sexual harassment. That's basically, yes.
The guild is normally allocated, some funding, some really good funding, and there has been challenges of accountability, including your predecessor. We understand that he's being investigated, and that's been the challenge for many other guild presidents. I remember on record, everyone keeps talking about a gentleman that was guild president. I think it was 2004, Ronald Mukasa Senkuvuge, a friend of mine. He was the first guild president before then. I don't know if after then things have changed, to give a proper accountability of how funds of the guild were used, how much money was given, how it was utilized, and there was a balance which he took back. He was the first, and the university administration said, wait a minute, what is this? They were shocked. How much are you given, and how do you plan to utilize this money?
In a consultation with the finance minister of the guild, he has told me that the university secretary has advised that this year's guild budget ceiling will be 260 million. This money is budgeted for by the House. It is not budgeted for by an individual. We as cabinet, the finance minister only guides that this much should be put here, this much should be put here. But I've advised him that in all whatever he's doing to allocate these funds, he should make sure that the funds are allocated to run pro-student activities, because this is the only way students are going to benefit from it. Still, using that money, I wanted to introduce a students' trust fund, but in consultation with the speaker, he has advised that it is a rigorous process to come up with one, because it requires legal gymnastics, and he told me that by the time we secure it, perhaps during our tenure, we shall be out of office. So that is a process that we're going to initiate for the other coming guild, to see that at least a student trust fund is put in place in Makerere. So he advised that we either have a contingency fund as the guild, or we have a constituency development fund.
Okay, my time is running quickly. We need to wrap this up. But tell me quickly, who is your political mentor or role model?
Of recent, Julius Malema is one I look up to. But
Why?
Nelson Mandela has it all for me when it comes to the political realm, and he's one who lived the life of principle. You see, when you live a life of principle, it does not matter how many people are following you, for as long as you represent an idea, you stick to it.
How about here in Uganda?
Here in Uganda, Akiza Besigye is one I like.
Why?
He exemplifies, he's more of a Nelson Mandela of this side.
Interesting.
Yes.
So what are your future plans out of Makerere?
The announcements will come along the way.
You sound like one of the presidential candidates who told us, I'll tell you when I'll tell you what
yes,
to tell
I
you.
will tell you when I tell you. But when I want to tell you, at least I will make sure that you're invited.
Let me tell you something,
Yes.
Salim, as we wrap it up. Now I'm talking to you not like a host,
But as a brother.
but as a big brother. You see, there's a difference between politicians and statesmen. Politicians are more concerned about the next election. Statesmen are more concerned about the next generation. And you're a budding young leader. You seem to have interests of your people at heart. I hope that you can be a good leader. I hope that you can be a transparent man. I hope that at the end of your term, you'll issue out a very good accountability of the funds that you will have been given. I hope that your legacy will be a good one. I hope that you will be more concerned about the interests of your people than you of, you know what, it's going to be a stepping stone. I'm aiming for MP, and that's okay, or that kind of thing. But that you serve first before you serve yourself. Is that something you can do?
Yes, I will.
Okay, we will be watching.
You will be proud
and
of me.
we hope that you will do that.
I will.
Thank you,
And
Papa
I
Were
appreciate
Salim, for talking to us.
I appreciate the advice.
All right.
Thank you for hosting me this morning.
There you are. That's it for the big story. Thank you for joining us. My name is Joel Senyonyi. Good morning.